In this video, I'm going to show you how to get your final project repository set up on GitHub. So the first thing is to go to this link, github.com/jtr13/Quarto EDAV template. And then you're going to see all of the instructions in the README, and it's really important to follow every single step so that you set up your repository properly. So the first thing is to copy the template. This isn't a regular repo, it's a template repo. So rather than forking it, and it says very clearly, do not fork the repo, you're going to click the Use This Template button and create a new repository. And then you're going to give it a name. So let's do that. I click Create a New Repository. And then let's say my final project is about bird migration. I'll call this Birds. And we can put source files for EDAV final project. In the description, it's important that you keep it as public. You can't use GitHub pages. You can't link to them if your repository is not public. And then create repository. So now we have a new repository. You can see what it was generated from, but we're no longer on that repository. You should be in your own account now with your own repo. And we're up to the step of setting up GitHub pages. When it says GitHub in parentheses, that means that's a step you're doing on GitHub. If it says RStudio, obviously you're working in RStudio. So now we need to set up GitHub pages. We're going to click on the settings and then the pages button, and then deploy from a branch and choose docs folder. So let's do that. Settings, pages. It already says deploy from a branch. I pick main and then docs and save. Now we go back to the main page of the repository and go to the little gear on the top and choose use your GitHub pages website. What that does is just provides the link so that you can go in there and see the rendered book. So this probably isn't going to work now because the GitHub has not built the pages site yet. If you really are curious when it's going to be ready, you can click on actions and you'll see it building and deploying pages. When that's done, you'll be able to see the rendered website. So it's getting there. Not yet. Well, we'll come back to that later and we'll keep moving forward. So now we want to start working locally. We're going to copy the HTTPS link and clone the repository. So let's go to RStudio. We're going to do File, New Project, Version Control, Git, paste that link. Sometimes it populates this field automatically, sometimes it doesn't. Mine stopped doing that. I'm not sure why. We're going to create the new project. And now if you open up the README, you'll see exactly the same instructions that we saw on GitHub. And in fact, what we can do is just delete everything that we've done so far so we can keep track of it. So we've done all this, we've cloned the repo, and now we're up to the step where we need to edit the Quarto YAML file. So that is over here, and there's just 3 things you need to do here. We're going to give it a title, so let's just call this Bird Migration. The author is me, and the second author, let's say, is Big Bird, BB1. And then we need to put in our GitHub account name and the repo name. And that's it. So back to the README, we've changed all of this information. And now we're going to render the book. So step one is to make sure that you're using current version of RStudio. So click on Help and check for updates. And as long as you're using the newest version, you're good. So now we go to the Build tab and click Render Book. And what that does is it takes all of the QMD files in the repository and renders them into HTML files and puts them in this docs folder. So you should never touch anything in the docs folder. That's output only. Don't add anything there. Don't edit anything. Every time you render the book, it gets rewritten. So anything you do there will be erased anyway. So now we can check what it looks like locally. So we're going to open up the index file. And you can see that now it says bird migration here. We have the authors, and these are the future chapters of your project. It should link directly to your GitHub repo. So if I click on that, that's going to take me to the repository, which is really convenient. So now let's check what else we need to do. We're up to step number 4. We just opened up that index.html file to make sure that everything looked okay. Since it looks good, we're going to commit and push all the changed files to GitHub. This is a very important step. All of the rendering of the book is happening locally. So you have to render. That means convert the QMD files to HTML and then commit and push them to GitHub. So I am selecting them all. I did that with Control or Command A, and then we commit, call this initial render, and push. And we're really finished at this point. There's a couple more things. If you want to change the theme, here's information on how you can do that. There's more information about Porto features. Follow this link. And finally, you can just delete everything and give a short name to the repository. I'll commit that too. Okay, so we're just going to assume that some time has passed, and we're going to click on this link, and we can see that this has all been updated with the information that we added in RStudio. That's it. Thank you for watching.